This is pre-calculus, Unit 17, Section 2 of the Bell work. Today we're going to be talking about different kinds of angles. The first kind that you need to be familiar with are quadrantal angles, and those are angles with their terminal side on the X or Y axis. So if we have an angle that is in standard position and its terminal side is right up there on the y-axis, that's called a coterminal angle. We show the direction of rotation. This is a 90-degree angle, so 90 degrees is coterminal. The next one is 180 degrees. Then we have 270 degrees. And then the last one is a full rotation, 360 degrees. Okay, those are coterminal angles. In pi's, this would be pi over 2, pi, a radian measure, I guess I should say, 3 pi over 2, and then 2 pi. Now, in which quadrant does the terminal side of the given angle lie? Think about your quadrants. We have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, 3, 4. A positive rotation is counterclockwise, and that's the way we count and label our quadrants. So pi over 3 is less than 1/2 pi. It's less than 1 pi, and it's also less than 1/2 pi. So that's going to end up in quadrant 1. 5 pi over 6 is, it's more than 1/2, but it's less than 1 pi, so it's going to be over here in quadrant 2. 4 pi over 3 is greater than 1. It's 1 1/3. So we know we've passed the 1 pi, and we're 1/3 of the way in through the next pi, so we're in quadrant 3. Negative pi over 6 starts here and does a negative rotation, which is less than 1/2, so we're in quadrant 4. 3 pi over 2 is down here, and that is quadrantal. Got to know that word. Okay, negative 2 pi over 3 is not quite a full negative pi rotation, but it's more than half, so we're in quadrant 3. 45 degrees, that's up in quadrant 1. Now remember, this is 180 degrees, so if we go past 180 but don't get all the way to 270, we're in quadrant 3, so 225 is quadrant 3. Negative 60 would be in quadrant 4, and 180 is quadrantal. Now 5 pi over 6, that's 1 1/4, so we go all the way past pi and then 1/4 of the distance around in the bottom half, and that puts us in quadrant 3. And then pi over 4 is up in quadrant 1. Now, you're going to need to have the circle charts that I have at school. You can pick them up. We are labeling this one, I believe, is a pink one. And we're going to label in both radians and degrees. So we have 0 pi, pi over 2. We label the quadrantals first. And then we go back and label in degrees. 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180, 270, and 360. Now what's very important for you to remember is that pi and 180 are exactly the same. 270 and 3 pi over 2 are the same. 0 and 0 pi, 2 pi and 360, as well as pi over 2 and 90. Okay, the next one, is, I can't remember if this is green or blue. I think it's green. No, I think it's blue. Anyway, you can see when you get the paper, get the circles. We have 0 pi. We're labeling the quadrantals first. Pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. In degrees, 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180, 270, and 360. Now remember that only the top half of the graph, the top half, this up here, is 1 pi. And that 1 pi has been cut into 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So 1 divided by 4 1 divided by 4 gives us the fraction 1/4. So this is pi over 4. 2/4 is 1/2. 3 pi over 4. 4/4 is 1. Then we have 5 pi over 4. 6/4 is 3/2. And then 7 pi over 4. And 8 pi over 4 is 2 pi. Now in degrees, all the way around is 180, but we've divided by 4. So pi over 4, you need to always be able to relate this to 180 divided by 4, which is 45 degrees. And then 90, then 135 degrees, 180, 210, sorry, not 210, 225, 270, 315, and 360. Okay, the next one is yellow. And label the quadrantals first. Now, from 0 to pi has been cut into 6 pieces. So 1 divided by 6 is 1/6, pi over 6. So that's 1 pi over 6. 2 pi over 6 reduces to pi over 3. 3 pi over 6 reduces to 1 pi over 2. 4 pi over 6 is 2 pi over 3. Then we have 5 pi over 6. 6 pi over 6 is 1. Then we have 7 pi over 6. 8 pi over 6, which reduces to 4 pi over 3. 9 pi over 6 is 3/2. 10 pi over 6 is 5 pi over 3. Then we have 11 pi over 6. Now your degree measures, we start at 0, and remember this is 180. 180 and pi are the same. You should never wonder what pi over 6 is in degrees. 180 is pi. 180 divided by 6 is very easy to find. 180 divided by 6 is 30. 180 divided by 3 is 60. 180 divided by 2 is 90. Now, 180 divided by 3 is 60 times 2 gives 120. Each one of these you should be able to determine very simply. So get all of these labeled. That's a 330. Now your last one, I think it's green, but I'm not positive. All this is of the other ones. Your quadrantals go on first, and then combination of all. So we have pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, and I'll let you go ahead and go around and finish labeling each one of those. You will be using this chart throughout the semester, so get it put together and have it prepared to use. This is Pre-Calculus Unit 17, Section 2.